The truth about Mark Cuban's Shark Tank investments. Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the truth about Mark Cuban's Shark Tank investments. Let's get right into it. Mark Cuban's investment history, like everyone else's, has ups and downs. And at least when it comes to ABC's Shark Tank, the billionaire has made peace with that fact. In July, Cuban stated that, on a cash basis, he has taken a net loss on his numerous Shark Tank investments, which include more than $61 million invested in 210 startups since joining the show in 2011. The estimate is based on Cuban's on-screen investment, which does not always result in a completed deal later on. Cuban wrote, "I'm good with that with my Shark Tank companies." Cuban then added, "I don't do the show to get the best investments, and I don't always invest because I think I'll make money. Sometimes my deals are purely to help someone or send a message." Notably, Cuban added, the net loss only covers companies that he's exited, not any of his active investments in private companies. He wrote, "If I add the valuations to my current investments based on the last raise, I'm doing great." He then added, "But that's not money in my pocket, it's potential. Raising money hopefully creates more upside. However, in my humble opinion, if you can't spend it, it's not a financial gain." The self-analysis sparked a discussion with Cuban admitting that a company's valuation only shows how his investment might grow on paper. It's not liquid, which means he cannot spend its value without first selling his shares. He posed the following questions to his Twitter followers. Should illiquid valuations count? It also provides insight into the billionaire's investment strategy, at least in terms of Shark Tank. In the past, Cuban has frequently mentioned having a soft spot for businesses with missions he believes in. As a vegetarian since at least 2019, he's invested in multiple vegan food brands on the show, and entrepreneurs with strong work ethics who need a boost to reach the next level of success. Cuban told TV Tango in 2011, "What really gets me going is when people have an operating business where they've already gone for it, and they've invested everything," adding, "They've put their heart, their soul, their time, everything that they have available to them into the business, and they've laid it on the line, and they just need a little bit of help." Cuban added that when it comes to identifying the type of entrepreneur he wants to work with, he can see elements in the entrepreneur that are attractive to me in terms of efforts and brains and ability to sell. Of course, financial upside still matters. Spending money to send a message may be pointless if the company isn't successful enough for consumers to receive it. And Cuban stated that the more money he puts on the line, the less willing he is to take a risk on something that won't pay off. He told TV Tango, "I contrast those factors to the risk-reward of the business or of the investment," adding, "So in other words, if I'm investing $10,000, there's a different risk-reward profile than if I'm investing $1 million. But not everything is on cloud nine for Cuban. Over the course of more than a decade on ABC's Shark Tank, billionaire Mark Cuban has seen his fair share of good and bad investments. Cuban told the Full Spend podcast in July that after investing nearly $20 million in 85 startups on Shark Tank, he's taken a net loss on all of them. He tells CNBC Make It that the loss is only on a cash basis so far, and that it doesn't take into account the fact that he hasn't yet exited many of those investments. "I haven't gotten out more than I've put in. However, this does not take into account all of the ongoing, operating businesses and their valuations." On the podcast, Cuban discussed the worst investment deal he's ever made, the breathometer. Charles Michael Yim, an entrepreneur, appeared on Shark Tank in 2013 to pitch his product, the breathometer, as the world's first smartphone breathalyzer. Yim impressed Cuban and the other sharks by demonstrating a smartphone app that he claimed could accurately measure blood alcohol content. Yim served the sharks champagne before having them blow into a small plastic device that could be attached to a smartphone. Yim claimed that the device could send BAC level readings to your phone and that you could call a cab with the touch of a button if your BAC level was too high. The pitch was compelling, and Yim became the first Shark Tank entrepreneur to secure a joint investment from all 5 sharks. Cuban, Kevin O'Leary, Damon John, Lori Greiner, and Robert Herjavec invested $1 million for a 30% stake in Yim's company, valuing it at $3.3 million. Cuban said, "It was a great product." Cuban then added, "But the guy, Charles, I'd look at his Instagram and he'd be in Bora Bora. 2 weeks later, he'd be in Las Vegas partying, and then he'd be on Necker Island with Richard Branson." According to Cuban's recollection, Yim would reply that he was networking on behalf of the business. By 2016, Yim had moved on from the breathometer, collaborating with healthcare giant Philips on a product called Mint, which measured the levels of sulfur compounds in your mouth to determine whether or not you had bad breath. The FTC filed a complaint against Yim and Breathometer in January 2017, alleging that the company misled its customers about the product's ability to accurately measure BAC. Breathometer lacked scientific evidence to back up their advertising claims, according to the FTC. That's all for today, and we'll be sure to catch you all in the next one.